Welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball. A very pleasant evening in St. Louis. The Cardinals hosting the Houston Astros, a very young club with a lot of new faces, including their manager. Glad you're with us. Rick Horton with Al Raboski. The Cardinals coming off a 19-inning loss on Sunday where they really needed to go deep into that bullpen.
Well, they had to account for 11 innings out of the bullpen. The Cardinals used 8 different pitchers. But because Garcia went 8 innings, because Joe Kelly really did the job, he went 5 2/3. Everyone is available from the pen other than Joe Kelly. And with Wainwright on the mound, you may not need anybody.
We'll take a look at our starting pitchers when we come back. Harold for Houston, Wainwright for the Cardinals. That's next. Cardinal first-year manager Mike Matheny has made it a habit of throwing to the first group in batting practice all season long. When we start action tonight, our starting pitchers will be Lucas Harrell for the Astros. A sinker baller, gets a lot of ground balls, in the top 5 in the National League in that department, and he's been hot in the second half. Speaking of hot, Adam Wainwright, 4-2 since the break, is 11-1 lifetime against the Astros. They will not miss Wainwright when they go to the American League. JT and his dad, John Mabry, getting loose for this game here tonight. When we come back, we're going to show you 5 keys for the stretch for the Cardinals in 2012. Welcome back to Busch Stadium. Earlier today, Astro Tyler Green chats with his former manager. It's time to look at 5 keys to the Cardinals' stretch run in 2012. Adam Wainwright has officially recovered from Tommy John surgery. The 30-year-old has tossed 6 straight quality starts and hasn't lost in over a month. Carpenter carried the team last September. Wainwright's ready to do the same in 2012. Carlos Beltran and Alan Craig are RBI machines, but they require rest. Mike Matheny will have to find ways to get them rest in the season's final weeks while maintaining a formidable lineup. 9 of the Cardinals' final 41 games are against the last-place Astros. So far, they've split the series with them this year, which simply won't be good enough. The Cardinals have to take advantage of Houston's last days in the National League. The Cardinals' bullpen has been one of baseball's best in the second half, but they have to keep it up. The teams they're chasing, Braves, Dodgers, Pirates, have had 3 of the best bullpens in baseball all season long. Mike Matheny is in his first season as manager, and he has his team pushing for a playoff spot. He has to dig deep and find a few wins in one-run games down the stretch. Miracles like last year do happen, but not very often.
Welcome back to Cardinals baseball. Cards set to take on the Astros, first of 3 here in downtown St. Louis, and we welcome you back inside Busch Stadium to our Helitech desk with the former Cardinal Cal Eldred. I'm Pat Paris. Cal, we're keeping an eye, of course, on the Pirates, ahead of the Cards in the standings, but also holding down that last wild card spot. They have something special that could happen tonight. A.J. Burnett could be a 16-game winner. Hasn't been done since 22 years for the Pirates.
And it seems been that long since this team's even been 500. A.J. Burnett has been such a huge addition to the Pirates pitching staff. Lots of innings, quality pitches. He's been throwing that breaking ball first strike and commanding his fastball, which is the key thing for him to be successful.
He'll face Jason Marquis and the Padres tonight out on the West Coast. Highlights of that game as well as reaction from tonight's Cardinals game on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live immediately after the game. Cal will join me over at Lumiere Place. Rick and Al have the call. Cardinals and Astros. It's coming up next on Fox Sports Midwest.
Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by a reminder from Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Designate a driver. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. Downtown St. Louis, the site of the first of 3 against the Astros. Busch Stadium, and here is the batting order for the struggling Houston Astros. Jose Altuve has hit the Cardinals well. Very talented young second baseman. Scott Moore and Brett Wallace will also bat here in the first inning. Justin Maxwell, Jason Castro, Ben Francisco are in the middle. Fernando Martinez, Tyler Green, the former Cardinal, and the pitcher will be Lucas Harrell. And they will face the Cardinals starter who's been very good in the second half, Adam Wainwright.
Well, he has. He's won 5 straight games here at home, but look at his career numbers against Houston. A remarkable 11-1 record with a 1.73. He has just owned the Astros. One problem is all those guys are gone. So he's going to be pitching against a new club, but he does like the Astros uniform.
And it certainly is a new club for the Astros. Cardinals have the normal cast of characters behind Adam Wainwright, although Carlos Beltran getting the night off. So Craig J. Holliday, freeze for Carl Schumacher. Matt Carpenter will play first base, and Molina will be behind the plate, our Dobbs Cardinals defense. Temperatures right at 85 degrees. The Cardinals coming off a very tough loss on Sunday to the Pittsburgh Pirates, a 19-inning affair. We'll check out our keys for tonight's contest, and they involve Adam Wainwright, our Toyota keys.
Well, the great winning percentage, over 900 with his 11-1 best record right there. The ERA 1.59. Last 3 starts, he's gone at least 8 shutout innings. So he's been pitching extremely well, and this is one of his favorite opponents.
Altuve has hit the Cardinals at a 404 clip. Lines back to Wainwright. Nice play. That's how this one starts. Good reaction.
Well, we know that the Astros are a team in flux, but on the year they're 3-3 against the Cardinals, so don't take them lightly. Charge that line drive as he releases the ball. Get your head up, because the ball's coming right back at you. Pretty innocent looking there, but
Made that look easy, didn't he?
Slow motion, it didn't look tough at all.
Well, he did not to show the panic he was feeling. Let's put it that way. Fly ball left center. Holliday settles under it. Scott Moore, left-handed hitting third baseman, is retired. 2 quick outs for Wainwright. Tony DeFrancesco, 17 years managing in the minor leagues, finally getting an opportunity here to manage at the big league level. He's a 49-year-old long-term baseball guy, spent some time with Oakland, other organizations, and he's got tough work ahead, doesn't he?
He sure does. In 11, he got promoted to AAA. On Sunday was his first game as a big league manager, and I don't know, is it fair to say you're managing this ball club? Or was it fair to Brad Mills, who was fired? There really is very, very few, would you say, bona fide major leaguers on this team.
Absolutely. The youngest team in the National League, averaging just over 26 years of age. Only the Kansas City Royals have a younger ball club.
Along with Brad Mills, the hitting coach and first base coach were let go.
Brett Wallace has spent a lot of time in the minor leagues, and here he is batting third in the lineup for Houston. Joe Patini, former Cardinal coach. Many thought he may be getting the interim manager position, something he's done before.
I think it's, in fairness, you bring up your AAA manager. You know, most of these guys, these kids are his. He's accustomed to knowing them, and then over the winter you evaluate what he's done the last 5-6 weeks. But Joe Patini will be considered. I think Oquendo and Chris Maloney will also be considered, because Jeff Luhnow knows the Cardinal coaches very well.
That's an interesting thought.
They've talked about Jim Crane, the new owner of the Astros, hired Jeff Luhnow to kind of model what the Cardinals have done. So why not think about Cardinal coaches?
Good fastball on the inside corner. Wallace is caught looking. 1-2-3 inning for Wainwright in the first. Six batters hitting over 300 for the Cardinals as we look at their batting order here tonight. Jake Carpenter, Holiday are 1-2-3. Craig will hit cleanup tonight. David Freese, Yadier Molina. Then Skip Schumacher, Rafael Furcal, and the pitcher Adam Wainwright. And they'll face Lucas Harrell. Harrell 10-8 from Springfield, Missouri.
Remember, he was put on waivers by the White Sox, picked up by Houston. He's a 10-game winner, and that is impressive in its own right. He's also 2-0 against the St. Louis Cardinals, and he has pitched his best baseball recently. They say now his sinker is a lot more powerful. His breaking pitches are a lot sharper, and he's getting a ton of ground balls.
Line drive, base hit down the line for John Jay. He's looking for two. Throw into second base, not in time. Leadoff double.
Best thing the Cardinals can do to erase Sunday's nightmare, the 19-inning affair, is to come out and attack in the first inning.
Matt Carpenter's been a very productive pinch hitter for St. Louis. Second most RBIs in all of baseball off the bench. There's that high fastball taken the other way.
Have to take advantage of these balls that are up in the strike zone. You know, we talk about Harrell getting all the ground balls. Well, if he gets it up a little bit, and that's the desired goal, then you can hit those line drives and fly balls.
You mentioned the 2 wins for Harrell. He beat Kyle Loesch on the 4th of May, and that was Loesch's bad month. Every other month has been outstanding. And he also beat Jaime Garcia on June 5th, and that's the game we remember too, because that was Garcia's last.
Yes, and Garcia, for whatever reason, just really has not fared very well against the Astros. So one of the reasons why he started against Pittsburgh, his numbers are so much better against Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
And he was good on Sunday, wasn't he?
Very good. That's the best I've seen him in a long time.
10 strikeouts, which is a career high for Garcia. But the Cardinals were not able to score runs in extra innings. Tough loss. Carpenter trying to pull that ball to the right side, 1-2. And for folks that may have missed our pregame show, and I can't imagine that there would be people that would have missed it, Jake Westbrook and the Cardinals have now announced an extension for him for next year. He agreed to his option, as did the Cardinals, and they added an option for 2014. So
good news.
Congratulations to Jake Westbrook. You bet.
That sets up a lot of competition for spring training now, doesn't it?
Some good young arms throw into the mix.
Well, the Cardinals have Carpenter, Wainwright, Garcia, now Westbrook, also Joe Kelly, Lance Lynn. There's 6 right there, and without even talking about the Millers, the Martinez's, the Trevor Rosenthals, guys like that. So it's going to be very tough fighting for a job. That only makes you better.
Hard hit to left, down the line, slicing foul, and into the stands. Cardinals 9 games below 500, Al. They keep getting up to that 11. They can't seem to break through to the higher plane, and we keep waiting for that to happen. This series, 3 games against an Astro team that's only won 39 games. You pretty much have to win them all, don't you?
I think so. I really do.
Ground ball to short. That'll get Jay to third. Good jump by him.
Watch him come out of the box and concentrate on the left foot. You see that toe, and boy, that didn't look good, but he's able to get his weight back on it, run down the first base line, but we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Folks a little older and a little more unathletic may have a problem right now. But
Yes. And the first inning, they pull the infield in for a guy that just crushes the ball. You're asking for trouble. Ricky, this is when the manager says, I'm going to get all the married guys off the infield.
right. Old baseball expression.
Nobody hits the ball harder than Holiday, and some of his ground balls, I mean, he can just blister it through the infield. And now you've got guys playing in.
I've often thought with a guy like Holiday, because he does hit the ball so hard, you can play halfway back, can't
And
you?
you still can, ball get you so quickly, you might have a play at the plate. But just the mere fact in the first inning, maybe it is a good pitching matchup. Maybe you're not going to score a lot of runs, but you're just asking for trouble. I'm sure Matt would be the first one to tell you he'd like that percentage to be a little bit higher. And he's been in a little bit of funk, but so much of the Cardinal offense depends on the middle three.
2 for his last 26. Big part of supporting the Pujols Family Foundation golf tournament yesterday. Matt's name was on that tournament. A lot of folks showed up. It was a great day. The 0-2.
Rick, I was pleasantly surprised that Albert showed up, and he asked Matt to lend his name to it. Matt was very happy. He and his wife Leslie said a lot of those beliefs are what we feel in, how to help people out. So he was honored to help out. But I had a opportunity to sit with Pujols and about 6 of the guys. There's a box, so we got the 1 run in.
His 3rd balk of the season. Harrell has had an issue with this all season long, and a big break for the Cardinals.
He can't believe it. Sometimes, as you watch right there, there's too many parts to his windup. Is that what you're seeing, Rick?
I'm not sure what it was from straight on. I'm not sure he actually stopped or not. Maybe he stopped twice.
Well, there's no pause, but it kind of like he goes to one set and then he immediately is going to a different location. And I'm sure Lucas is going, hey, this is the way I do it all the time. But we'll keep an eye on that when runner on.
Ground ball just foul.
But I was going to say that before the tournament started, I was downstairs with Albert and 6 or 7 of his old teammates, and the subject of Mike Trout, the young superstar, budding superstar from the Angels. And Mike Trout just turned 21. And Albert was saying he is the best player I have ever seen. And I got to the point where I said, Albert, do you ever look in the mirror? He goes, no, I'm telling you, he can do things on a baseball diamond I only dream of doing. And he talked about some of his abilities, as a leaping plays he's made defensively. He steals bases, and he just raved about Mike Trout.
High praise from Albert.
Unbelievable coming from Albert.
1-2. Holiday will not get a shot at RBI number 82.
Oh, I think he's got a shot at it.
Yeah, he does. He would have had it. Base hit the other way. Astros 14th in the National League in defense. Martinez, Maxwell, and Ben Francisco came over from Toronto in the outfield. Tyler Green, the former Cardinal, plays shortstop. Brett Wallace, the former Cardinal, plays first. Castro and Harrell are the battery, and there's a look at Tyler Green, who's been pretty good in an Astro uniform, hitting .355 in his first 9 games with the Astros.
With 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, and
maybe more comfortable with this kind of situation.
I talked with Tyler, and I said, Tyler, there's no doubt you have the physical ability. Just go there, just relax, and let it come out.
Couple of games we'll keep you up on in the National League. Pat Paris and Cal Eldred already told you about the Pirate game later on, but the Reds also playing tonight. Hard hit the second and past a diving Altuve. He was really shading up the middle, did not get a very good jump on that ball. Base hit Alan Craig. Let's check in on what's happening in Philadelphia. We've got a good pitching matchup here. It's Cliff Lee and Homer Bailey. Only RBI in this game so far. St. Louis and Ryan Howard. 1-0 Phillies, bottom of the fifth.
Cardinals picked up a half game yesterday. They were idle, and Philadelphia beat the Reds. And if you look at the last couple of years, I think Philadelphia has really had Cincinnati's number. So we must, another must reason why you have to win these games, and hopefully you can pick up a game or two more before we take on the Cincinnati Reds this weekend.
David Freese 0 for his last 11. A 10-game hitting streak now for Alan Craig. He already had a career high with 9. Now it's 10. Fastball low.
We know David can get a little streaky at times, and he's one of the bad streaks, but you just feel like he'll break out at the right time, and that time is now. Remember, David has been very good with 2 out RBIs. There's only 1 out here, but he's also hit Harold very well, 3 for 7.
.20 sinker at the knees. Harold does not look particularly sharp in the early going. He is 3rd in the National League at 69% in terms of ground ball percentage.
Well, that's what we talked about here. He gets a lot of ground balls. His sinker can go up to 95.
Hard hit to right, another base hit. Holiday will be held at 3rd by Oquendo, so 3 straight base hits following the balk. 3 balls hit pretty hard, and I know all the Cardinal fans are saying, where was this innings 9 through 19 on Sunday?
That's why baseball is such a funny game. Lucas Harold came in, he's pitching extremely well. He's defeated the Cardinals 2 different times, but both those times were in Houston. And pitching here, he's from Springfield, Missouri. I imagine he's got a lot of family and friends that are here in attendance, others that watching. We do remember this. He's got the bases loaded and only 1 out, but a sinker baller can throw 1 pitch and get that ground ball double play. Big difference is home ERA versus the road.
Holiday, Craig, Freese are aboard. Molina facing Lucas Harold. Already 1-0 St. Louis in the first.
Could have 4 hits allowed and only 1 run given up. So really key. Yachty at least drive in 1 more.
Broken bat over the shortstop head, and it's going to drop. Holiday scores. 4 straight singles. Craig held at 3rd. 2-0 St. Louis.
'57th RBI. Times that maybe by breaking the bat it pays off. He gets jammed on this one, fights it off with his hands, come through, and just muscles it out there over the infield.
Molina, Freese, and Craig the runners. Skip Schumacher. 19 RBIs, hitting .304.
Mike Shannon on our pregame show said, I want to see which team comes out here in the first inning. The Cardinals going to, still have their dauber down, feeling sorry for themselves after the 19-inning loss, or are they going to come out here and turn the corner? Well, I think Mike's got the positive response.
Astros, of course, have been down as well, and talking to Joe Patini yesterday at Holiday's tournament, said that the Astros really do struggle once they get down because they're all young players, and you start to kind of feel like, well, here we go again. It starts to cave in on them emotionally and mentally.
Ricky, that's so important. If you get a young team like this, you got to get on top of them early, and then because they know they're overmatched talent-wise, but they kind of start getting to the point where it's like, okay, well, we'll come out tomorrow and we'll get ahead. We'll have a chance. But they just kind of, I'm not going to say give up, but they do become a realist and say that we can't match the Cardinals and Wainwright.
2-1. .351 career hitter with the bases loaded. Always been a clutch player. And a lot of Cardinal fans like it when he's in the lineup. I think that would be safe to say. Ground ball to the right side. That's a base hit. Knocked down by Altuve. Cardinals may score two. Play at the plate. He's safe. Freese scores from second. 2 RBIs for Schumacher, and it's 4-0 St. Louis.
Skip was hitting .364 with runners in scoring position prior to that base hit. Probably would not have changed anything, but with Altuve just knocking it down, it guaranteed that Freese. So Allen Craig will score easily. Oquendo's going to wave home Freese as Altuve had to get up from a prone position, chase that ball down in shallow right field, and you didn't give Francisco, who it looks like they're going to respect his throwing arm, give him a chance to throw out Freese.
Strike one to Rafael Furcal, the Cardinals shortstop. 8 for his last 25. And like a lot of Cardinal players in this lineup, he's been streaky this year.
And I think we're starting to see that because of the bad back, it took him a little while, but he got 5 days off to rejuvenate himself.
Astros turn a double play. Damage is done. 4 Cardinal runs on 6 hits. Want to be here in person? Next time your Cardinals take the field, just head to StubHub, where it's easy to find the seats you want to see the Cardinals in action all season long. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals. Welcome back to Busch Stadium. All St. Louis so far. 4 runs on 6 hits in the Cardinals' first. Harrell and Wainwright. The starters here tonight. Game 1 of a 3-game series. Wainwright looking for victory number 12 here tonight. Jason Maxwell plays center field for the Astros, and we'll be introducing you to some of these Astro players as we go along.
Me too.
And they barely know each other. And their manager, for that matter, Tony DeFrancesco, although, as you said, the AAA guys know him.
Yes,
but the people that they got via the trade.
And we do know Maxwell a little bit because he came over from the Yankees. Just foul. Jeff Luhnow is searching those waiver wire lines. That's how he got Harold, their starting pitcher. Maxwell earlier this year was, I think around spring training, he was put on waivers from the Yankees, and there's no doubt he's a physical specimen. He's an athlete, but they just didn't have any room for him, and right now it's a great audition for anybody. You want, if you're a young player, you want to come to Houston because you show anything, you're going to be playing.
Maxwell with 12 home runs has the most on the active roster currently, and 3 of those home runs were pinch hit home runs.
I remember they just weren't sure what to do with him early. They said he's got great talent and everything, but they've had a lot of injuries, which have kept some of their veteran players from playing and opened up even more opportunities for the younger ones.
Swing and a miss on a breaking pitch. Back-to-back strikeouts for Wainwright.
Adam, coming off the Tommy John surgery, you really talk about secondary pitchers, but the curveball came back much quicker than the cutter. And you can just tell just by Adam's mannerisms that in his mind, he is completely back. He knows that if he's trying to hit a certain spot, he's going to do so. Great determination.
Castro, the catcher, is jammed. He's actually hit Wainwright pretty well. First pitch swinging, pops up for a call. 2 outs in the second. And you think about this Astros team, Al, they are celebrating 50 years as an organization, and this can't be a very fun celebration for them.
And they're asking their fans to be patient.
Yes. Moving to the American League in 2013.
And Francisco was acquired in a 10-player deal with July 20th from Toronto. You see the patch, 50 years of existence.
Jay on the move, long way to go. John Jay gets another one. Ho-hum. We're getting used to that. No big deal. Another F8. John Jay, all season long, getting good jumps, showing good hands. Fastball high and in to Adam Wainwright. 1-0 underway here in the bottom of the second. Wainwright then the top of the order for St. Louis against Lucas Harrell. He misses high again. 2-0. Not happy with himself. Walks off the back of the rubber. Wainwright making his 25th start of the season. Started to swing the bat a little bit better of late as well.
It's funny how early in the season his arm was questionable coming back from Tommy John, and there wasn't a lot of emphasis on the hitting, but then once he kind of turned the corner and you felt like he was fully back, and he's been swinging the bat much better, which is more indicative.
Wainwright bounces out. One of the things you do to attack a sinker ball pitcher is go the other way.
Yep, and the Cardinals did a good job. So you keep on going back here, expecting him to be pulling the ball, and they throw him with that hole between first and second. Only one there. Schumacher pulls the ball, and that drives in the biggest 2 runs.
Very efficient.
John Jay also went opposite field.
He did. Very efficient for Wainwright the first 2 innings, Al. 17 pitches and 5 of 6 first pitch strikes.
Lucas Harrell was very upset when he came in after the first inning, and quite understandable, but you know, you put that aside and you say, okay, they got 4, that's all they're going to get. Try and get your offense back in.
Booted by Wallace. He's going to have to flip to Harrell covering, and he does successfully. 2 ground balls, more like it for Harrell. Fox Sports Midwest girls Kayla and Amy are drafting their fantasy football team. and they've enlisted fantasy sports host Kay Adams to get some help. Go to foxsportsmidwest.com for Kay's tips on prepping for draft day. You can watch the Fox Sports Girls draft live tomorrow night on foxsports.com. Still thinking about my team.
Everybody knows girls can know something about football. How about our newest member of prestigious golf course in Augusta?
Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah, she, you know what her dream is, job is? NFL commissioner.
Hold that thought. Carpenter going to end up with 2. Well placed down the right field line.
Matt Carpenter looked like the ball's going to be away. Really reaches out there and just hooks the ball. Like a slider or slider speed, you know, or changeup maybe, that is able to hook the ball and picks up a double.
Good example of you can be out front a bit as long as your hands are back and you can do something with it. Matt Holliday, runner in scoring position for the second time. He takes the first pitch inside for a ball. Holliday at the plate when Harold balked John J. Holm to score the Cardinals' first run, and then I wonder if that got in his head a little bit because he gave up 5 straight hits to follow.
It's not uncommon for a young pitcher, as you say, that that was his 3rd balk of the year, that he doesn't quite believe it, and then he gets his concentration a little awry and just makes some pitches before you kind of get it. Doug Brocale he stayed on as the pitching coach.
Tyler Green throws out his former teammate Matt Holliday. Cardinals don't score, but they lead by 4. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by the new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And get the All-American Jack Combo at Jack in the Box. It's a no-nonsense burger with fries and a drink for only $4.99 plus tax at participating stores. Wainwright, first pitch of the 3rd inning is high for a ball. On your left is Reggie. On the right is Derek. Smiling faces, good guys. Part of the security force here at Busch Stadium, and always pleasant to be around those 2 guys, and they are a part of the program here. Wainwright retires Fernando Martinez. Out number 1, and here is Tyler Green. Rick Horton, Al Raboski, and Jim Hayes joining us here for the 3rd inning. And Jim, you had a chance to be with Tyler Green. Of course, you've had a lot of chances to be with Tyler Green over the years. What do you think he's feeling going to the plate here against Wainwright? First time back in St. Louis.
I don't think he's eager to face Wainwright, but I know he's enjoying the return to St. Louis. Said it was weird. He wasn't quite sure what the visitors clubhouse was. He was with the team and the organization for so long. But he's gotten a fresh start with the Astros. 9 games, coming in hitting .355 as a part of the Houston Astros. And Al, I know you talked to him. You could look at him, and he looks physically different. He had a big smile on his face. It is a clean slate. Jeff Luhnow said he thinks a giant weight had been lifted off Tyler's shoulders.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, for whatever reason, and I talked to Tyler and I said, look, it's obvious you have talent. Whatever happened here in St. Louis, you know, go over there to Houston, just relax, play every day, and let that good talent come out. And he was very appreciative of whatever happened here, and Joe Patini was there and kind of listened to it too and said, yeah. And, you know, get rung up on a pitch down and away and a tough pitch and probably outside the strike zone. But that's how his Cardinal career has gone, isn't it?
Really has a lot of strikeouts, and really, I think you guys said it, but just pushing it further, not really a blame game with that with Tyler Green as a Cardinal. He's not saying he didn't get a chance. He certainly did, and nobody's saying there was an effort issue. His performance and his ability just never really seemed to come out in a Cardinal uniform.
He knows he's been given several opportunities here, and just for whatever reason it didn't work out. But you know, sometimes a change of scenery, as they say, Al, can make all the difference in the world. I told him a lot of people in St. Louis will be rooting for him, just not in this series.
Yeah, and he understands that, and I think he was very happy to see his ex-teammates. You know, big smile. There wasn't no bitterness at all. And he's gone over there for 9 games and he's responded, and we hope that continues when he's not playing the Redbirds.
Harrell, a switch hitter. Might want to try right next time. 1-2-3 inning for Wainwright. 4 strikeouts already. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to take advantage of new low pricing and see every remaining Cardinals out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Cardinals.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Lucas Harrell out for his 3rd inning of work. And between innings, Doug Brocail talking to him about not flying open, going right to the target. When you fly open, everything gets flat. Exactly what he's talking about. You need to throw more downhill, and something a sinker baller needs to hear.
Yeah, and Doug Brocail was a very good reliever in his own right. Bounced around a lot of different clubs, but you know, he also had a little mean streak to him, and I think he's a good guy to kind of get in the face of certain guys, how to cater to other guys. But you're absolutely right. If you're a sinker baller, you got to go directly at the target and stay on top of the ball so you can get that movement down.
Craig, Freese, and Molina in the Cardinals' 3rd. And Jim Hayes, speaking of sinker ballers, Jake Westbrook, I already mentioned it a couple of times and talked about it in the pregame, of course, has been renewed. His option was picked up, and they added another year. And good to have Jake in a Cardinal uniform for a couple more years.
Yeah, he couldn't have been happier. He was hoping for that, just because he's found a real comfort zone in St. Louis, not only as a pitcher, very comfortable with the coaching staff, certainly his teammates, and the guys in the rotation, very tight-knit group, but also his family likes it here and has embraced being part of this community. And for John Mozeliak, and his point of view, he said, look, we want certainty in our starting rotation in the future. Jake had a good year, and so we thought, let's try to get something done, and it worked out, as he said, pretty quickly.
And in that, the best news is not to hear about protracted contract negotiations. Just come to the ballpark and say, hey, there's going to be a press conference. We sign a new contract. We're all happy about that.
I'm in. He's in. We're happy. I agree. I don't think folks really like to hear about the details of contract negotiations, frankly. I think you're 100% correct.
And when you think about the way Westbrook has pitched, and of late he's pitching even better and better, you probably cannot re-sign Loesch. You know, he's pitched so effectively, he's going to make too much money, but there was a option for Westbrook. They picked it up, might even paid a little bit more on top of that, and then give him another year, a mutual contract. So Cardinals will have, in my mind, 6 starters under contract without even talking about the young kids that'll be trying to push for big league time.
Well, with Chris Carpenter, they're hopeful that he can make a return, but you know, they're going to have to watch him, and as John Mozeliak points out, they're hoping for the best, but they have to be realists, and they'll watch him and hope that he can return to being Chris Carpenter.
Busch Stadium in St. Louis. David Freese looking for his 2nd hit of the night, and it's a beautiful night at Busch Stadium. Rick Horton, Al Raboski, and Jim Hayes with you. So far, it's been all Cardinals offensively. They have 7 hits on the night. Adam Wainwright, 3 perfect innings for St. Louis. Alan Craig, a leadoff walk. Freese singled and scored in the 1st inning. The Cardinals picked up 6 hits in that inning, and really emotionally maybe dug out of what they pushed themselves into on Sunday.
I know you guys believe that momentum is only as good as the next day's starting pitcher, but when you have a loss like they had in the 19-inning affair, a day off the next day is just what the doctor ordered.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And when you think about it, the way the bullpen needed to pitch 11 innings, thanks to Jaime Garcia's 8, only Joe Kelly is not available for tonight. So everybody else would be available, and that rarely happens in a 19-inning game.
The importance, and you mentioned it in our open, but if Garcia has a 5-inning start, throws a lot of pitches, that's 4 more innings for the bullpen. If Joe Kelly is not as effective and as durable as he was, I mean, you're talking about a ton of innings in that bullpen, and maybe there's 4 guys out there that can't pitch today.
Well, I guess in reality is if all those things happened, we wouldn't have been playing 19 innings.
Well, that's probably true. That's a good point.
Because somebody would have given it up a lot earlier.
Based on the fact that it had been so long since Jaime Garcia pitched at the big league level, I think a lot of folks were surprised at how well and how long he went, but he wasn't. I mean, he said, look, I felt like I was capable of having this kind of start, but to strike out 10 and walk none and go as deep as he did, quite remarkable.
But he was efficient.
No walks.
Even with those strikeouts, he was efficient to where he could, get the 8 innings and what 106 pitches, something right there.
And we even saw a little defensive miscue that I think in the past Jaime would have a difficult time getting around, and he pulled it together quickly and moved on.
I think if you would have pushed Mike Matheny and Derek Lilliquist to give you a best case scenario, it might have been lower than what they actually got.
I agree.
Ball in the dirt, gets away from the catcher Castro, so on to second base is Alan Craig. Scored a wild pitch. Freeze with an RBI opportunity here. He has 66 on the season. And David broke an 0 for 11. Starting to look at some of these Cardinal players being as streaky as they are. Freeze would be one of them, both good and bad. It may explain some of the Cardinals' offensive variations, let's say. 11 runs one day, 2 runs the next.
Certainly, one-run games hasn't been their forte. Sometimes it's perplexing with the amount of firepower they have offensively, and as solid as the starting rotation has been, as well as the bullpen.
This MLB on Fox season, Fox Sports is proud to support Boys and Girls Club of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Chance for more runs for the Cardinals here in the 3rd inning. Yadier Molina has hit close to 400 on this homestand. I would not describe him, Al, as one of those guys that is streaky. Very rarely will you see Yadi go for 0 for 16, 0 for 18. He just seems to get a hit a night, and sometimes more than that.
Part of that is he doesn't strike out that often, so he's making contact. And I think he had to sit out a few days with the bad back, but I think that only he's only going to reach the benefit of that, that rejuvenate that body a little bit.
Couldn't hold back.
Tony Cruz did a nice job in his absence, but Yadi, the best defensive catcher, and now the last couple of years he's become the 2nd best offensive catcher to Buster Posey and ahead of Joe Mauer.
Hard hit to left, another base hit for Molina. Craig rounds 3rd. He's going to score, and the Cardinals lead 5-0. 2 hits already for Molina.
And 2 RBIs for Molina. He's up to 58. That'll be another one that'll join that 60-plus RBI club. Straight to the ball. It's up a little bit. We talked about a sinker ball. You want to get the ball up. You can hit that one in the air. Or another line drive. Scores Alan Craig. And another visit by the pitching coach, Doug Brocail.
Thigh high to belt high for a sinker baller is always a problem. We've seen that when Jake Westbrook isn't good, although I don't remember the last time I saw Jake Westbrook and he wasn't good.
That's right. Already 8 hits by the Cardinals. And the biggest one was off the bat of Schumacher. Single, and he drove in 2.
How important now to have an early start to a game like this where you have your ace on the mound. You're playing a team that is undermanned, young guys, but they're on scholarship too, to get to them early.
Well, it's very important in my mind. When you have a club, and let's face it, you know, this Astros club has only won 12 games on the road, 12 of 60 on the road. They've lost 4 straight. You jump on top, and like I say, it's just human nature. They said, we can't stay with you. We'll look to try and hold our own tomorrow. So you just got to, you know, really step on the throttle and just keep on pushing. And then you got a guy like Wainwright that knows how to pitch with the lead and seals the deal.
Let me repeat that number you just said. 12 out of 60 games on the road. There are 3 teams in baseball that have won less than 20 games on the road, and they're all in the National League Central. The Brewers, the Cubs, and the Astros. Double play, not turned, a little slow in developing. Runners at first and third now for St. Louis.
Who are those clubs?
Time for our AT&T trivia question. What team had the worst winning percentage on the road in a season since 1921? So I'm not talking about this year now. We're talking all time. We'll go back to the 1935 Boston Braves. You remember that year, Al?
I do.
13-65.
I'm trying to remember. I think that was still in a 154 game schedule, so it even makes it a little worse. Only 13 road wins.
You come up with that question yourself, Rick?
I did not. We have a outstanding crew, as you know. That was Danny Martinez, who
I love
stayed
Danny
up,
Martinez.
He stayed up all night coming up with that.
Well, it was worth it.
Former Cardinal farmhand Chucky Fick warming up for the Astros. Fick did have a brief appearance with the Cardinals. And that was earlier this year, but now he's planted in that bullpen for the Astros.
Hard hit to right. And the play is made by Francisco just barely. It's going to be a sacrifice fly and an RBI for Rafael Furcal. Well, we already told you about the Boston Braves. How about the Houston Astros of 2012? Just how close are they to having the worst winning percentage on the road since 1921? Actually third on the list, the Philadelphia A's of 45. And you're talking about a long, long time ago when you start talking about 35 and 45.
Wainwright got a chance to pinch hit in that 19-inning game. Walked.
Afraid of him. Well, of course, Mike Matheny did not know that was going to go that long, but looking back on it, you lost both Holiday and Freeze. Excuse me, Holiday and Craig during that game. And as you look back how many times late in extra innings those spots come up, and maybe had a chance to end the game, but you were trying to win it earlier with a pinch runner here or there. Defensive replacement, you know.
As I recall, Descalso made a play while he was at first base, a throw to third. that got the Cardinals out of a big jam. So there sometimes are some benefits to that, but obviously you'd like to have your big bats in there.
Daniel Descalso actually played longer at first base in that extra inning game Sunday than he ever did in his life prior to it. He had more innings in that extra inning game at first.
A walk to Adam Wainwright.
Third walk this inning.
I wonder if Sunday's lengthy game that wound up in the loss column will have any impact on High Sox Sundays. I heard you referencing that.
Yeah. Well, what, 3 or 4 guys were participating in that.
Well, I think Descalso started it.
Right.
Jay was on board.
Yadier Molina.
Yadi. And there was 1 or 2 other. Matt Carpenter said he was thinking of it, but I guess he chose not to participate in High Sox Sunday.
And how about, remember we were referencing that I had a charity function to go to, the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And, you know, obviously it started a little earlier, but there were 16 Cardinals that came to that event. 16 Cardinals after that 19-inning game that went to the Make-A-Wish Foundation dinner at Fleming's.
And then the next day, Matt Holliday / Albert Pujols golf
tournament
for Albert's Foundation.
And most of the guys that were there Sunday night were there again. John Jay was there. His fiance is quite a character. I mean that in a very positive way.
Yeah, I felt like you had to explain yourself there, Al.
I didn't feel like I had to. I just threw that in to
I
make
a little bit.
I speak Al. Let me help you.
She's got a great personality.
If you're Al Raboski and you say somebody's a character, you've got to understand that's a really good thing.
That's a compliment.
It's the same thing as saying a lovely lady.
She is that also. I did even mention that since I'm a admiral in the Hungarian Navy, I have the rights to marry them on the spot. She was all for it, and Jay was, you know, no, that's not doable yet.
Maybe that it's not a match made in heaven. Maybe they don't trust your ability to handle that. I don't think it would hold up in a court of law, Al.
Oh, I've got news for it. Maritime law, it does.
I don't think it would hold up in Hungary, Al.
They only hold up there.
2-2 to John Jay.
Mickey, why are you having trouble with that count?
I don't know. You guys are tickling me. Jay fouls it off. Cardinals.
Excuse me, it must be the cat.
6 runs on 8 hits.
I think you're just giddy because the Cardinals have jumped out to a big lead.
Aren't we all?
I was going to say, if that's good enough.
Talked to many Cardinal fans after Sunday's game who said they watched every single out. Many at the ballpark here, and a couple of ushers I talked to said they couldn't believe the number of people in their section that stayed. It's a long time. It's a long day at the park, but with it being close and important, I think people were just wrapped into it.
And I was down there, and I was actually able to hear Al questioning whether or not I was awake. I was.
Glad to hear that. Jay strikes out, but the Cardinals pick up 2 more. Thanks, Jim.
Phillies have done it again as they've taken a 3-1 lead, still batting in the 7th inning against Cliff Lee and the Phillies.
Pirates in San Diego will play later on. Jason Marquis and A.J. Burnett square off in that game. Lee and Homer Bailey pitching in Philadelphia. Base hit for Altuve.
Boy, what a hit machine this young man is. A year ago, he had 200 hits combined between the minor leagues and the big leagues. All-star this year, get a little cutter elevated, not much movement, hits it up the middle for the first hit, and base runner for the Astros tonight.
And a big I'm sorry to all the folks tweeting here tonight that they're expecting Adam Wainwright to throw a perfect game here after the first 3 innings. They had their sights set high, so the perfect game doesn't work. Now you go to the one hitter, the shutout, the win.
Get a double play right here and just face 27 hitters for the night.
Cutter on the inside corner. 0-2 to Scott Moore. Moore has hit .360 over his last 8 games and getting all the playing time, with Chris Johnson getting traded to Arizona. 28-year-old third baseman. Not every player on this Astro team is young, but they're by and large inexperienced, whether they're older players who are just getting a chance to play at the big league level or young players that are maybe getting pushed to this level. Altuve, only 22 years of age. But he is a very, very talented second baseman.
It's about 5'5", and mentioned he went to, he's from Venezuela, and he went to a tryout camp. They took one look at him, sent him home. Showed up the next day, they sent him home. Third day, they let him try out, and they signed him.
Swing and a miss. Wainwright breaking pitch. Strikeout number 5.
Brett Wallace has always shown that he can hit in the minor leagues. And this year, he was sent down. This last time he was sent down, he hit .352. Had 7 doubles, 6 home runs, and 20 RBIs in 36 games. But they kind of sent him down, saying, if you're going to play at this level, you're going to have to hit for more power.
Never really a question of whether or not he could hit or not, but the power, no question.
He's hit .328 lifetime against the team that drafted him. He was the Cards' #1 pick back in 2008. He has 5 home runs in 28 games this year at the big league level.
Would not expect Altuve to be running, but he does have 25 stolen bases on this season. You would expect in this series, however, for the Cardinals to be doing the mad dash against the Astros. They just do not throw runners out. With a 6-0 lead, they may not do much of that, but I would expect to see the Cardinals run in this series. Curveball in at the knees. Speaking of stolen bases, the Astros Class A Lancaster second baseman, the name of Delino DeShields.
I saw that
name.
Was he 89 steals?
Stole his 89th, 88th, and 89th base yesterday.
Sounds like Dad.
But not even close to what's going on in the Cincinnati Reds minor league system.
Yeah, they have the young shortstop that he's got to be over 100, doesn't he?
He broke Vince Coleman's minor league record today. Billy Hamilton is his name. And he now has 146 stolen bases.
I guess he's over 100.
Swing and a miss on a breaking pitch. Back-to-back strikeouts for Wainwright. The second time he's gotten Brett Wallace.
Good 12-6 breaking ball, outside part of the plate anyway. 6 strikeouts, only 39 pitches to this point, trying to get through the 4th inning. It's a good ratio with 6 strikeouts.
Maxwell struck out in the second. First pitch swinging. Low pitch count for Wainwright. Welcome back to St. Louis. Adam Wainwright looking for victory number 12 here tonight. Game 1 against the Astros. Been all Cardinals so far trying to recover from a tough loss on Sunday. The bats have come alive here tonight. 8 hits for the Cardinals. And they will take their turn here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Matt Carpenter doubled in the 2nd. Every Cardinal in the lineup through the first 3 innings has contributed in some way offensively. The only 2 players without a hit are Rafael Furcal, who had a sacrifice fly and an RBI, and Adam Wainwright, who walked in the 3rd. Everybody else has at least 1 hit already. One of the things you'd like to see happen, not to be kind of pushing them while they're down, although that's something you're supposed to do at this level. But one of the reasons you'd like to get Harrell out of here is get into the bullpen as fast as possible, Al, because you're going to play him 2 more times.
Exactly right. Maybe you can eliminate 1 or 2 of their relievers, get their pitch count or innings up to where they can't come back.
Hard hit in the gap, left center field. Backing up is Martinez, and he makes the play. Didn't quite carry to Big Mac land. We want to remind Cardinal fans that McDonald's is offering $1 off on products at the McCafe. Available at all St. Louis area McDonald restaurants from 2 to 5 every day. Nice crowd on hand as the homestand continues. The Cardinals a disappointing 3-3 in this homestand.
Very must take advantage. We were hoping it would be what, a 7-2. We thought would at the minimum the Cardinals needed to win 7 of the 9 games in this homestand. That obviously is not going to happen, but you can be 6-3.
Tough road trip awaits.
You got 10 games starting with Cincinnati, then Pittsburgh, and then Washington. Cardinals have not seen Washington this year. Still have enough games with the contending teams that the Cardinals can win the division, and that's, you don't want to just shoot your sights for the 2nd wild card. That's too low.
First time we've seen the Astros here in St. Louis this year. The Cardinals have made 2 trips to Houston, but counting this game here, of the last 41 games, 9 of them will be against the Astros. More than 20% of the games. So games you just have to win.
And you have to send a message right now today that you're going to win these games. Rick, I gave up 1 grand slam in my career, and it happened to be in the 1st inning of a start in Double-A. And it was much like Harold's 1st inning. I came in through probably close to 40 pitches, and Fred Koenig, the manager, said, okay, well, you got about 60 more today. Now try and get as many innings as possible. Like what you're saying, Cardinals trying to get in that bullpen a lot quicker.
And you learn a lesson when they give you that opportunity.
Sure.
That's part of the deal. The Astros bullpen, Al, in the last 16 games has an ERA of 2.8. They've done a nice job. That's been their strong point. So you can mess them up with a poor start if you can get Harrell out of there. Holiday strikes out. We are at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Beautiful downtown St. Louis. Astros and the Cardinals. Rick Horton, Al Roboski, and Jim Hayes with you for tonight's telecast. Yadier Molina, a couple of hits, couple of RBIs. Adam Wainwright just 1 hit through 4. Cardinals have had plenty of offense so far.
Alan Craig extended his career high hitting streak to 10 games. Already has 2 runs scored in this ball game, hit and a walk.
In conversation before the game, went through all the Cardinal starters and said which of the guys aren't very streaky. Yadier Molina was one. Alan Craig is another. Gives a lot of good at bats. He lines out to center. We go to the 5th. The Houston Astros at one point in this season, and that point we're talking about is the 25th of May, had Lucas Harrell on the mound. He beat Clayton Kershaw. They went to 22 and 23, and since then, 17 and 60.
That's hard. That's tough. Okay, Moore with our starter tonight, trying to get his arm up and get on top of the ball, finish off his pitches.
Cardinals were in Houston in June. We already mentioned Jaime Garcia had his last outing before leaving for a couple of months with his shoulder impingement. Harrell pitched that game and beat the Cardinals. Wainwright beat Bud Norris. Can't believe that possibly happened. That was game 2 of that series, and then Lance Lynn won his 9th in the finale. Castro's retired.
So on the season, the Cardinals are 3-3 against the Astros. They have a lot of remaining games against the Astros, and they're just going to have to just dominate against them.
And you mentioned the tough games on this road trip, playing at Pittsburgh, which is getting tougher than it used to be. And you could say the same thing about playing in Washington.
So it's Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Washington.
You have to be road warriors. But first things first, you have to handle the Astros here at home. Cardinals have actually not played the Astros very well at home the last couple of years. Astros have won 8 of the last 13 games between these two clubs here in St. Louis, and that's a bit surprising.
It's not acceptable. We know where they're going, and Cardinals are trying to get to the promised land, and you've got to beat these clubs if you're going to do so.
Francisco headed to second. Good throw from John Jay, but not in time. Cardinal fans remember Ben Francisco with a home run in the NLDS against Jaime Garcia.
Yeah, 3-run home run, wasn't it?
It was. Saturday, September 1st, Fox Sports Networks and FX are the places to turn in for a full day of college football action. Our coverage of college football begins Saturday, September 1st at 11 a.m. on FSN and FX.
Martinez was a big top prospect in the Mets organization, but he fell off in that. He was claimed off of waivers by Houston on January 11th of this year.
Pulled foul.
Nice catch by a gentleman in the white jersey, the home jersey.
Oh, that's his reward.
And it wasn't even the kiss cam.
How about that?
Nando Martinez played parts of the last 3 seasons with the Mets.
Just 23 years of age. And you think about this club when we played them a couple of months ago. The key people in their lineup were Jed Lowry, J.D. Martinez, Carlos Lee, Chris Johnson. And they're all gone. J.D. Martinez was batting cleanup, in fact, in that series. And he is back in the minor leagues. The Wainwright curveball once again.
It's kind of an equalizer. Some of these guys haven't seen that good. Yellow hammer, 12-6.
Now you're going to have to help me with that one. I would call it a yellow hammer too, but where in the world does that come from?
I don't know. Just trying to think of some of the things. Uncle Charlie.
Uncle Charlie starts with a C. You could say
Yeah.
curveball, but
the
yellow
yellow
hammer
hammer
makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
But you have heard it.
Of course.
In reference to a curveball.
Yeah.
Fick back up in case they get to the pitcher spot. Up to Tyler Green.
Don't have access to my baseball lingo book, but I do have all my friends on Twitter who I'm sure will tell me what a yellow hammer means and where that came from. And we'll know shortly, Al. I trust my friends on Twitter. Some of them.
There's not a yellow hammer, but there's a
That's our hammer.
Chris Hammer Maloney. And with all the years that he was in the minor leagues, Jeff Luhnow may tap into Chris and see about a managerial interview. He did interview for the Cardinal job this year. Went to Mike Matheny, and Chris became the first base coach.
And I'm sure they'll evaluate what Tony DeFrancesco does over the next 40+ ball games.
I guess the real thing is, was it really fair to Brad Mills? With everything that's gone on, all the, disbanding his team, how do you grade him?
I think that's a great point. The 3-1 to Green is grounded foul. They also fired their hitting coach.
And Bobby Meacham.
And Bobby Meacham, the first base coach.
Former #1 draft pick of the Cardinals, Bobby Meacham.
I have two yellow hammer answers, and they're entirely different.
It's Twitter. What do you expect?
We'll share those as we go along. Full count to Tyler Green. Francisco, the runner, at second. Ground ball to third. Backhanded by Freeze, and he throws out the speedy Tyler Green. The Astros strand another. 6-0 Cardinals. Bottom of the fifth, 6-0 Cardinals. Let's go to Jim Hayes, who is in a special place with a special guest. Jim?
Yeah, the bullpen with bullpen coach Dyer Miller. With an Adam Wainwright start, sometimes you don't need the bullpen. Typically in a game like this, this is when the pen starts stirring. What are the responsibilities and what are the preparations at this point in the game?
Well, we did our pre-game meeting, go over the hitters before the game. And right now the guys are watching the game intently and doing a little stretching, and we have some exercise balls out here we use and some stretching cords, and they're doing not jumping jacks like old school, but they're doing some good stretching and jogging out here.
This bullpen, the roles are pretty well defined. Do guys have kind of their own programs and just kind of work on their own too?
Everybody's a little individual how they get loose. A lot of them like to throw a ball against the wall. Some of them just twirl it around their arm. Motter uses a weighted ball, a real heavy metal ball he uses to get loose. So everybody's kind of on their own program. It's kind of a superstitious thing.
Dyer, thanks for the chat. I'm going to get out of here before Mitchell Boggs throws me out, guys.
Very special. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate that. Thanks, Dyer, for connecting with us during our telecast here tonight. That's pretty special.
Oh, I wish Cat would stay down there and get a real education of what goes on in the bullpen.
Oh, he would never be the same, would he?
He's been around, but he's never been in a bullpen.
Never been there. Well, we won't tell you everything. We'll just let Dyer tell you what he said about how guys get loose, and very important for them to not be hyper focused, Al, but be ready when that phone rings. Freeze bounces out.
It is a fine line. You got to learn how to warm up. You got to learn what to do in your preparation. In Mott's case, Joe Kelly knows he's got the day off because he went 5 2/3 in extra innings on Sunday. Mott you get to a building block kind of do your own thing and do all kinds of things, but about the 5th inning you start a building block process to get to the point where you know the 9th inning comes around. It's amazing if you really watch a game. About the 7th or 8th inning, he can predict who he's going to face in the 9th inning and whether it's going to be a save situation or not.
Molina takes a strike on the outside corner, 0-2 to Yachty. Well, we appreciate that special glimpse into the Cardinals bullpen. Adam Wainwright pitching as he is. Perhaps that phone won't ring very early out there tonight.
Sometimes you get caught in a game like this, though.
You do.
When you think you've got a strong, sturdy starter out there. Remember, Wainwright, the last 3 times he's faced the Astros, he's gone 8 shutout innings. Came in with 16 shutout innings against them. And, you know, you all of a sudden think you got a day off. And then things change quickly.
Harrell getting the start here tonight, making his 25th start. He's really the best they have to offer, although Bud Norris will pitch game 2, has pitched well against the Cardinals. Really a rough go for the Astros starters.
It is, but when you see Harrell's numbers, you go, he can be pretty proud of those in just about any rotation. But Bud Norris, as you said, he got off to a tremendous start, and it was kind of a joke. It was Bud, Cy Young, Norris. But Cardinals are starting to get more and more looks at him. He can only beat the Cardinals. He can't beat anybody else with his 5-10 record.
Dallas Keuchel will pitch the final game of this series.
He's a left-hander.
On Thursday. And that'll be Westbrook in that game. Kyle Loesch will pitch tomorrow. And by the way, Al, I have our answer. Many, many, many answers on Twitter about what a yellowhammer is. A yellowhammer.
How do you know it's a correct one?
Well, 20 people say it must be true.
Oh, really?
It's a bird. A yellowhammer is a bird that is known for diving sharply at its prey. Hence the yellowhammer, the curveball that dives. And again, 20 people say it, it must be true. A couple of other answers I'm throwing away, but that's the one I'm going with. Yellowhammer is a bird.
I want to hear the other ones. I might like them better.
I'll share them with you later. 2-2 to Schumacher. That was darting at its prey. Schumacher strikes out. Steve Pearce lines one into the gap in left center field. Pinch hitting for Harrell. Leadoff double. That's how the 6th inning starts. Adam Wainwright has been very, very good tonight. Lucas Harrell is through for the night and struggled throughout.
Steve Pearce, seen him before with Pittsburgh, but he began the season with AAA Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. In the Yankees system, he was hitting .318, 11 home runs, 30 RBIs before being traded June the 2nd to Baltimore. And then he was claimed off of waivers from Baltimore, another one that they just pick off on the scrap heap. And who knows? He's hit pretty well for the Astros.
Pirates really liked him when they first called him to the big leagues. Thought he was going to be the guy that had some pop, play first base, outfield. Leadoff double here in the 6th.
Adam has given up only 3 hits. Altuve has 1 of them. And we're saying now that there's a lot more teaching done at the major league level, but the Astros, there's going to be constantly coaches helping out players.
I'm not sure I'd want to be talking about mechanics after I gave up 6 runs on 8 hits.
Yeah, it's almost one of those things you wait till tomorrow.
Exactly.
And of course, at this level, you have to know your own mechanics well enough that if you keep on missing one location, you got to know why. You know, what am I doing in my delivery that is forcing me outside of the strike zone?
Fly ball to right. Craig gets it in quickly. Of course, the other part for Brocail is he knows his pitchers and he knows their mentality. Sometimes they want to talk about it right away.
So, you know, it's a fine line, you know, and as you said, Doug Brocail knows his guys.
Right.
So he'll know when to pick and choose. And what you do today may be just reinforced tomorrow. And then, you know, verbally, and then in between your starts, you really work on it. Phillies tied it up 3-3, and now Cincinnati has taken the lead again, the top of the 8th, 4-3 over Philadelphia.
Cincinnati has been very tough late in games, haven't they?
They have been. They've had that, you know, come from behind, some of those magical wins. Right after Cordero, remember Cordero was the Cincinnati Reds closers, but Cordero was with the White Sox this year and was traded to the Astros, and immediately he blew 2 saves in the 9th inning against facing his old team, the Cincinnati Reds, and he's on the disabled list now for Houston.
Popped up. David Freese has it. Todd Frazier, 18th homer, the difference in that Cincinnati game. Adam Wainwright been very good here at home.
21 2/3 scoreless streak against Houston here at home, and he's on pace to do it one more time. In his last 2 times it was 8 innings of shutout baseball against the Astros, and worth repeating once again, he has a career mark of 11-1 against the Houston Astros.
Both of those starts go back a couple of years. Wainwright pitching against Houston here, but sometimes you just have a feel against a certain uniform. They're different players, different years, but you just have that sense
Same
that
results.
You know, I just seem to pitch well against them.
Yeah, and you know the Astros players were saying, "Wait a minute, didn't Pittsburgh just come in here?"
Wainwright knocks it down with his bare hand. I guess it worked. 6-0 St. Louis. What's on tap? The Astros and the Cardinals going at it again. Game 2 of the 3-game series. Norris and Loesch. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. There's Kyle Loesch, having a phenomenal season. Chucky Fick, former Cardinal, is our Mid-America Chevy dealers called to the bullpen. He replaces Lucas Harrell.
Former Cardinal farmhand, and this season 10 games, 0-1, 4.50 ERA, 14 innings, 9 walks, 8 strikeouts. Signed by the Cardinals and did get to the big league level this year. And I think we would classify Chucky as a little short at the major league level. And that may not be quite fair evaluation because we only saw him for so limited time. 3.20 minor league ERA, 22-16 coming into this year for the Cardinals.
Well, you can be short at one point and then develop and get better.
He's a nephew of 10-year Major League veteran Robert Fick and the son of a longtime Cardinal scout, Chuck Fick.
Hard hit in the gap by Furcal. It's down and it's going to the wall. Furcal. Leadoff double.
18th double for Ralphie. Now 1 for 2 with also a sac fly. Pitch out away from him, just stays right up there, and just a nice piece of hitting.
Steve Pearce has stayed in the game. He had a pinch hit double. He's now playing first base for Houston.
Adam can help his own cause. Now with 6-0. Is he sacrificing? Showing bunt now. And Chuck Fick, that was not a bad play right there. You know, Furcal puts his head down just saying, okay, it's an out, but he fired that ball and almost got a double play.
Krispy Kreme dozen deal. If your St. Louis Cardinals get 9 hits today, and guess what? They have 9 hits. You're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow. Personal invitation here. You can receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $3.99. Stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kremes for a sensational deal. Base hit, John Jay. Here comes Furcal, another Cardinals run. 7-0 Redbirds.
John Jay with his second hit of the night, his first RBI, 27. And you kind of hit that ball up the middle, and so he could really take a good round around first base. See if their center fielder wanted to throw home. So you see the first baseman is in a cutoff position. They do not throw home, and so he goes back to first. Got to be a special moment for Matt Carpenter. Grew up in the Houston area. Play against the team he probably rooted for. That, with the combination of the guy he rooted for wearing the Houston Astros uniform, is now his teammate Lance Berkman. Saw Lance take batting practice today, and all indications are that he will go on to minor league rehab on Friday and will be back with the club shortly. Probably spend close to the end of the minor league season,
which is drawing to a close.
First week in September, so you know he'd be gone a week, 10 days, something like that, before he'll come back, and that'll be a big shot in the arm. Make Mike Matheny's job a little tougher. Having another quality bat to insert in the lineup, but guys at the same position.
I would guess, Al, that over the last couple of weeks, Mike Matheny has been very clear on the fact that his job is tough. I know he's feeling a lot of the angst of Cardinal losses. I know he takes them very personally.
Well, hadn't he publicly stated, you know, before the season, he thought, you know, he cared desperately when he was a player, but you know, tough games you could put aside and you could just come back out the next day. And I think it's been a bit surprising. Mike Matheny has found that as a manager, those losses are a lot tougher. No doubt a learning curve for Mike, and he'll benefit from some of these tough games.
Walk to Carpenter. You really don't know till you do it. He actually has more experience than the Astros manager at the big league level in this particular game, since it's game number 2 for Tony DeFrancesco taking over for Brad Mills. But I think, Mike, you could say what you think you're going to do, but until you get into a long season and manage 162 games, you're not sure how you're going to feel. And I think he has been surprised by the depth of the hurt of losses.
I kind of look at it, you know, Ricky, and you know, in my career I was in the bullpen, so I knew about my relievers, my core relievers. I knew about the pitching staff. You know, a lot of things that would happen. You know, I had my distinct opinions, but then when all of a sudden you come up here as a broadcaster and you take away the tunnel vision, and you look at the whole scope of 25 players. There's things that go on that you never even thought about, even when you were down there in the playing field.
Right.
And some of the things as a player I would have been so extremely upset about, losing this teammate or losing that guy. You know, sometimes as a broadcaster you say, well, why can't you make that deal? What's taking you so long? And it's a completely different when you're thinking about, you know, one element to the game to where now you're in charge of every aspect and 25 different personalities and what transpires in a game. It's
and your coaches.
Oh yeah.
And personnel here at the ballpark.
And let's put it one more. One of the biggest factors today is the media, the scrutiny that you get from talk radio and all those things.
We told you already about the home run. Now we're going to show it to you. Todd Frazier, the rookie, 18th home run of the season. That's the difference in the game right now. In Philadelphia, 4-3 Cincinnati. Phillies now batting in the bottom of the 8th inning. Frazier having a nice season.
It really is.
He and Kozart, a couple of good rookies for Cincinnati. They have a good mix.
Frazier's filled in when Roland was out. Now with Votto out, he's done a nice job. Unfortunately.
Alan Craig scored twice, single, a walk, and a line out. 7-0 St. Louis.
Luke Hochhaver beat David Price down in Tampa 1-0. So there's another reminder that maybe the superior pitcher, superior ball club, even playing at home, you've got to pay attention to. And the beauty of baseball, any given day, somebody can have a great game or start and change what you think is going to happen.
Strike on the corner.
Kind of has a delivery, which to the right-handers, he kind of jumps towards the third base dugout and then slings the ball. But I think the more you see that, the more you kind of get his keys and watch his release point.
Kevin Frandsen has tripled in Philadelphia. Score is now tied at 4. He drives in Dominic Brown facing Broxton in the 8th. So some good news from Philadelphia.
And for a while, those two closers are pretty comparable. A couple hits and a couple walks this inning.
And the bases are full for David Freese. He scored twice, single and a walk, and he bounced out.
David has one career grand slam. That was earlier this year. The Castro's going out there, hey, get ahead of this guy, and David just maybe just relax, look for a ball in a certain zone. As Chucky Fix probably going to try and throw a strike, be ready for the first one you see.
Phillies retired in the 8th. They go to the 9th inning. 4-4. Cincinnati and Philadelphia.
Who's pitching?
We have Broxton still in the game
Time
for
is gone.
Cincinnati.
Well, they go to their bullpen now with the bases loaded. Their manager, Reiner Cruz, is throwing in the pin.
Fixing his first inning of work. He's already given up a run. Now facing David Freese with the bases loaded, or will he? And he signals to the bullpen. And we will see Reiner Cruz. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Ford, the official vehicles of the Cardinals. Beautiful night for baseball, all St. Louis so far. Cardinals threatening for more. They already lead 7-0. Out hit the Astros 10-3. And Reiner Cruz, the new pitcher. He inherits a bases loaded situation, and David Freese.
Well, Reiner Cruz is our Mid-America Chevy dealer's call to the bullpen. He's one of 4 players from the 2011 Rule 5 draft currently on the Major League roster. He was the #1 overall pick in the 2005 draft. He came out of the Mets organization. David has 1 career grand slam. That happened this year.
He had 6 RBIs, in fact, in that game. And guess who it was against? The Houston Astros.
Wesley Wright, left-handed pitcher, into the Crawford boxes.
Began that particular game with 3 strikeouts. And when it was all said and done, he had 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. 1-1 to Freese. Ground ball to third. Freese is retired, and so are the Cardinals in the 6th, but they pick up another one. 7-0 St. Louis. Fox Sports Midwest welcomes a night in Old San Juan on September 5th. It's a Latin-themed affair and it featured dancing, authentic Puerto Rican dishes, and celebrities invited by Carlos Beltran. The evening benefits Cardinals Care and the Carlos Beltran Foundation, which has outreach efforts in Puerto Rico. For information and tickets, go to carlosbeltranstl.com. And we also want to let you know Bill Brown has been doing some nice work. He has a book, My Baseball Journey, a sportscaster's story, and he was over at Mike Shannon's today with an autograph signing, and Bill is donating the proceeds of the book to charity. Again, it's My Baseball Journey, a sportscaster's story. Bill Brown, good friend of both of ours. We've had the opportunity to do games with him in spring training, Al, and he's just a nice man.
I think over 25 years now with the Astros, and as you said, good friend of ours and good guy.
From Sedalia, Missouri.
I didn't know that.
Makes him even better.
Yep. And we saw Carlos Beltran. Carlos, hopefully he'll be back in the lineup in a day or 2. He's had a lingering hand issue, and maybe that's part of the reason why his batting average and his struggles of late, but they got aggressive with it and got an injection, and I think he'll be much better when he comes back to the lineup.
Castro, the catcher, has popped up twice. He'd been 4 for 9 against Wainwright. Career numbers. Stanford graduate. First round pick in 2008.
Now that didn't quite apply. The tools of ignorance, and then a guy graduating from Stanford.
It is a bit of a conundrum, is it not?
And then I'm trying to think of who the other catcher a few years ago that I think he might have graduated also from Stanford, and he said it's not the tools of ignorance that we wear, it's the tools of excellence.
Good line. To think who that might be.
I could mentally see a picture of him. He wasn't a very good hitter, but they think that Jason Cruz is their answer. Had a very serious knee injury last year. Jason Castro is their catcher, and he ended up having went on the DL with a right knee effusion. You know what that is?
I do not.
I don't know if that's. I think that would be taking fluid out or something. Get your Twitter friends to help you out.
They've been busy tonight, haven't they? Wainwright walks Castro. That's his first walk of the night. More than 440,000 Americans die each year from smoking-related illnesses, including cancer, heart disease, and stroke. 10,000 in Missouri alone. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line to quit now. 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Since he has added a run, now it's 5-4, still batting in the top of the ninth. That'll set the stage for the bottom of the ninth and a Phillies win.
Optimistic Al tonight. The glass is half full.
Rather have it be half full than half empty.
Agreed. Wainwright pretty sharp today, Al.
Yeah, 3 walks, or excuse me, 3 hits and only 1 walk, so he hadn't been in that stretch very much. For a big man, 6'7", pretty efficient. No expended, nothing big or exaggerated about that windup. It's just efficient.
He's got the high sock Sunday thing working on a Tuesday.
And picked up his 8th strikeout.
10 strikeouts for Garcia on Sunday. In fact, the Cardinals bullpen picked up 9 more before that game was over. But the Pirates prevailed 6-3 in the second longest game in baseball in 2012. Ground ball to the right side. Wainwright's going to have to cover, and he does. Martinez runs well. Wainwright beats him to the bag. Time to stretch here in St. Louis. Cardinal fans appreciating the effort of Adam Wainwright. 7-0 St. Louis. The Cardinals' dynamic pricing gives fans access to great deals for games throughout the 2012 season. This week's dynamic deal, field box tickets for the remainder of this series against the Astros. They start at just $21. Get your tickets now at Cardinals.com or by phone at 314-345-9000. 7-0 St. Louis. Yadier Molina has 2 hits and 2 RBIs. And he is putting down the right fingers for Adam Wainwright. And another ball laced to left field. Long single for Yadi. 3 hits on the night. He came in to play 6th in the National League, and he may be climbing.
It's up to 321 now. And just that nice little compact swing. It hits this ball hard into left field. They do a nice job to get it back in and hold him to a single.
Timing was so good on that, wasn't it?
Yeah, you may be down. The Astros may be down 7-0. It doesn't mean their players can't show their new manager that they can play this game at this level. Play it with intensity.
Molina now up over 320, depending upon what David Wright and Carlos Gonzalez did in their games. Wright for the Mets and Cargo for the Rockies. Molina would be 4th in the National League in batting all of a sudden with those 3 hits. Ground ball to second, could be 2. Green turns it. 4-6-3. Yachty with 3 hits. Now our Schnook's difference maker.
No doubt, with his 3 hits, 3 singles, and 2 RBIs. He has done the job. It's up to 58 RBIs now. For Call, he picked up another RBI. He's at 47. Majority of those out of the leadoff spot.
So Al, is it possible to pitch 7 innings of shutout baseball, throwing just 78 pitches and having 8 strikeouts?
It is possible, because that's what Wainwright has done. Is it probable? No.
Unusual.
But when you, and remember, he's got 8 strikeouts and a walk now. It just shows you how efficient he's been throwing strikes, getting them to swing early and make outs early in the count. And he's still got a little work to do.
It seems as if the approach for the Astros has been, don't let him get ahead of you. Not going to walk a lot of guys, so try to get that first pitch and pounce on it. We see a lot of first ball hitting here, and then when it hasn't worked and he's gotten ahead, he's done just that.
Able to strike you out.
Finished him off, right? 35,370 here tonight. For Call, bounces out. There's a good friend, Joe Patini. Long season for him. Welcome back to Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Let's go to Pat Paris in our studio with this Bommarito Sports Update. Pat.
Rick, thanks very much. Steven Strasburg taking on the wild card leading Braves. Strasburg cruising here in the 5th, strikes out the side. 10 Ks in 6 innings of work. Nats win 4 to win 1. Strasburg now 15-5, but 145 and a 3rd inning pitched. He's running out of starts. Guys, back to you at Busch.
Thanks, Pat. Cardinals will see the Nationals, the end of the road trip, and that debate continues to rage about Steven Strasburg. And you wonder why you don't hear the same debate, the same conversation as it relates to Adam Wainwright.
Well, one, Adam is considerably older. Adam also has mentally, made the gap to where he throws a lot less in between starts to take the pressure off his arm. You watch him between innings, and I mean, he's got his 8 warm-up tosses, and he just lobs them in there. I've never seen a pitcher use them so, not really geared to get back up there, and he does it in fine fashion. Most of the time when they talk about, a pitcher with that innings pitch count, you're talking about a relatively young pitcher, 20, 21, 22 years of age. I don't know about you, but see a cutter here. But John Smoltz, I thought, had the best advice, and that was for shut down Strasburg, say like 2 weeks ago. Have him kind of, sit around for a month, just throw on the side a little bit, and then pitch late in September in the stretch run and conserve his innings. What do you think about that?
Not a bad idea.
Might strike out.
Just hard to imagine them not using him in the playoffs. That's just very hard to imagine that. The fastball goes up and in and past Tyler Green. Second time he struck out tonight.
Well, it's a major difference from when I was in the game that the belief really was that if you got to postseason and you hurt your arm, it was worth it. Especially if you won the World Series, it was worth it. You were a winner. But obviously today, everyone's concerned about longevity.
Long fly ball down the left field line. It's hooking, foul.
Steve Pearce, his second plate appearance. He got the double when he pinch hit back in the 6th inning.
Wainwright now has 9 strikeouts.
Apparently Mike Rizzo is taking it upon himself. He's the only one that's going to decide when to shut down. You know, Steven Strasburg, the general manager.
What's interesting, when Strasburg had a lot of attention around the All-Star game, they asked him about being shut down. He said, nobody's told me. And the reporter said, well, I know you are being shut down. He said, well, why do you know and why don't I? I mean, it became a really big story at that point. And I think as we get towards the end of the season and the Nationals continue to play well, and he's such a centerpiece in that rotation, that story just has really gotten some wings, and it's not going to go away. Another strikeout for Wainwright, number 10. Steve Pearce with the curveball.
As we look at the final strike and strikeout right over the top, but Strasburg is starting to get on board and not making too many comments. Of course, his agent, Scott Boras, is one of the major factors in helping Mike Rizzo determine that shutting down.
Nice play by Furcal, ranging up the middle. He throws out Altuve. Wainwright's been good, hasn't needed much help from the defense, but he gets it here from Rafi. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Taco Bell. Live Más. Beautiful Busch Stadium. The statues out front. Cardinal fans very happy here at the ballpark tonight. 7 runs on 11 hits for St. Louis. The Astros with just 3 hits. Nice crowd on hand. And most Cardinal fans are hoping / expecting, wishing for, whatever you want to say, a sweep in this series.
Soon to be 26-year-old Xavier Cedeno. He will take over his second stint with the big club. He's allowed a .231 average to right-handers and a little bit more, .241 to left-handers.
Wainwright bats for himself in the 8th inning, lines it right back off the pitcher Cedeno, and he recovers to throw out Adam. That ball was hit right on the nose.
Let's see how Cedeno is. He's telling his third baseman, Scott Moore, that he's okay. Let's take a look at this. Like he got his glove up, hard to tell from that angle, but casually went after it, throws out Adam. At this stage, I think you'd rather have Adam sitting on the bench preparing for the 9th inning, wouldn't you?
Well, and beyond that, just getting ready to ask you a question relating to what we were talking about with Steven Strasburg. 8 strong innings for Wainwright, 7-0 the score.
I think it's because he's been so efficient and he hasn't labored at all. Cincinnati does hold on and they win. Broxton's the winner and Papelbon loses that ball game.
Base hit for John Jay. He has 3 of them tonight. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. John Jay with 3 hits tonight. One of the oddities about that 11-inning game, Al, on Sunday is that John Jay, who'd been hitless in kind of the normal game, actually had 3 hits in extra innings. Carlos Beltran stole 3 bases in extra innings, and Yadier Molina threw out 2 runners in extra innings. So we had quite a few things happening after the 9th here on Sunday. Unfortunately, not enough Cardinal offense.
Playing behind John Jay with a left-handed batter. Mike Matheny's going to go for offense. Excuse me, go for defense in the 9th inning as John Jay is poised to hit for Matt Holliday after Carpenter. Excuse me. Robinson is on deck.
Waves at a breaking ball. Carpenter doubled in the 2nd. Still leads all National League rookies in batting average. Does not have as much playing time as some of the other rookies do. Padres have jumped on top of Pittsburgh. 2-0 in the early going.
Padres had a good series last week in Pittsburgh.
Jason Marquis going in that game.
Remember, didn't Jason throw a 1-hitter against Pirates? Wasn't that the game last week too?
Rooting for him tonight, that's for sure. Strikeout of Carpenter brings in Matt Holliday, who struck out twice, also has a base hit and a run scored. But Shane Robinson will hit for him. Mentioned the defense. And give Holliday some time off his feet here. 7-0 Cardinal lead. Adam Wainwright with 24 straight scoreless innings against the Astros here at home. Jake Westbrook signed an extension today. Cardinals are seeing Tony DeFrancesco for the first time, the Astros' new manager. There's Jake. Cardinals are 10-8 in the month of August. And it is time to push that gas pedal all the way to the floor.
You can almost say that this team has been underachieving. And that was the same word that came to mind this time last year against the Cardinals.
Then they just caught fire. Thrilled us all. Looped into center field, not caught by the second baseman, and Robinson's going to make it to second. Nobody home. All the middle infielders converged on that ball. Nobody trailing him to second base.
John Jay Goes over to third base, and I'm as lucky to be. It's better to be lucky than good. As big swing, but it was in on the hands, and that might have deked the center fielder. So Maxwell comes in, he gets it, and now it's a foot race. There was nobody for him to throw to, and Altuve came the closest. The center fielder Maxwell picks it up. And the Cardinals, with 2 outs, have runners at second and third for Mr. RBI. Doesn't have one yet tonight, but I wouldn't bet against it.
I'm with you. Almost wonder whether he'd had the thought quickly about it, but the pitcher, maybe the only one likely to cover second base on that play, had to recognize that second base would be empty, but he's really going to go back up that potential throw to third too. So.
Yeah, and really in my mind, it's the first baseman's kind of got to recognize that and get away from the cutoff position and go to the second base bag. Between the pitcher and the first baseman, somebody should have been there, or at least moving in that direction, and that didn't even happen.
1-0 on Alan Craig. He's at 309 and getting closer and closer with his playing time to qualifying for enough at-bats. Trails by a couple of dozen, I believe, at last check.
I remember Alan Craig started the season on the disabled list. It wasn't activated until May 1st. And then he had another hamstring injury, cost him another 14 days. So in between, he's been very productive. 18 home runs and 62 RBIs.
Unless it's changed, I believe it's 3.1 plate appearances, not at bats, but plate appearances per number of games that your team has played to qualify you for the batting title and to be up among the league leaders. His average certainly is there. You mentioned his RBI production, just outstanding, and when you consider all the time he's missed. Two and two.
Talking about Craig being an RBI guy this year with runners in scoring position, he's hit 385. A little tougher with 2 outs, but not out of the woods, even with a 2-2 count.
Ball 4. So David Freese with an opportunity to add to his RBI total. He bounced out with the bases loaded in the 6th inning. Cardinals already up 7-0. Here's Robinson, the runner at second. Alan Craig has been on base 4 times. Ryan Jackson will pinch run for him.
David Freese, 29 2-out RBIs.
Looking forward to watching Ryan Jackson play a little bit more. Have to be the right opportunity, the right day.
And very solid defensively, so you're right about that. put Skip in the outfield if you wanted to, and right, and then put Jackson at second base.
Tried to poke that one the other way. 1-2 on David. 16 home runs on the season. What do you think his upside is in his career? Could he be a 30 home run guy someday? Or pushing it?
Yes and no. He's got to cut down on his strikeouts. He's got to stay healthy. This is the first year he's ever played over 100 games. Ankle surgeries, broken hand. He has the power to be a 300 hitter. The fact that he drives the ball the opposite field with good power, I think that it is, and he will just get better as he understands what pitchers are trying to do to him. He had a downs, part of May and everything where he even admitted he got a little too homer happy. Went back to seeing the ball much better, trying to get his base hits, and his home runs increased.
Two and two to Freeze with the bases loaded. Hard hit to right, to the track, just not enough distance. Francisco hauls it in. David almost gave us a thrill there, didn't he?
7-0 Cardinals as we head to the ninth in St. Louis. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Cal Eldred are at Lumiere Place. Adam Wainwright with another razor-sharp outing. They'll break down his night. The Cards get the bats rolling early. They'll re-rack the highlights, and we'll hear from Mike Matheny as well. Adam Wainwright looking to finish what he started. We head back to the booth, and Rick and Al, guys.
Thanks, Jim. Adam Wainwright hoping to finish it off here in the ninth inning. A couple of changes defensively for the Cardinals. Schumacher moves to right field, and Ryan Jackson stays in the game. He's playing second base, and Shane Robinson is your new left fielder. Jam shot, Freeze over towards the Astros dugout, and thinks better of diving for that ball, and I think that's the right choice.
Adam right at 90 pitches. Great ratio for having 10 strikeouts, 1 walk, and trying to have his second shutout of the season. First one against San Diego, right?
Facing Scott Moore, a pinch hitter, and Jason Maxwell here in the Astros ninth inning. It'll be Bogusevic. To hit for the pitcher. Swing and a miss. Wainwright curveball, another strikeout. Time for our Nissan drives of the game. Yadier Molina, 3-hit night. Cardinals have had a lot of offense, but he's been right in the middle of it.
Yachty doing a great job behind the plate, guiding Wainwright. Big offensive night for him with 11 strikeouts. He's one away from tying his career high, and this is Bogusevic, pinch hitter. Ryan was one of their everyday players when we saw them back in June.
As was Jed Lowry, J.D. Martinez, Carlos Lee, Jordan Schaefer, who's on the disabled list right now. Good player, came over from Atlanta. Chris Johnson was their third baseman, so very, very different Astros team. Wainwright gets a ground ball, freeze, throws out Bogusevic from Philadelphia. We have a final. Zach Cozart, another rookie home run. They got one earlier from Frazier. That was the game winner in the 9th inning. And you know who closes it out. Mr. Chapman throwing the cheese. Adam Wainwright trying to close this one out in the 9th. Justin Maxwell.
You've had a game like this, you always want to finish it off with a strikeout.
He can still do it, but not to Justin Maxwell.
It's the 4th hit. 5th base runner, 4 hits and a walk off of Wainwright. Carpenter, who was so brilliant down the stretch. A lot of people are hoping that Wainwright will take that role. Salas is ready in the bullpen if needed, but Wainwright wants to do it, finish his own work.
His career high in strikeouts is 12. He's at 11. We said in our open that Adam Wainwright would be a key down the stretch. He is fulfilling his part of the bargain here tonight.
Just want to punctuate this victory with a shutout. Adam would run his record to 12-10 this season, but 12-1 against the Astros in his career.
There's a looper into right center field, a base hit. Maxwell was running on the pitch, so he makes it over to third, and now runners at first and third for Ben Francisco. That was pitch number 100 for Wainwright.
Like might have gotten jammed right here and just in on the hands, but he muscles it out into shallow right. That's where you get the point where Mike Matheny says, I wanted to end it a few pitches ago. I wanted to give him the opportunity to finish this game with a shutout. Probably his last batter either way.
Curveball, strike one to Ben Francisco. .102 pitches. One away from tying his career high in strikeouts.
Something about going this far in a game this dominant in a game, it's only fitting to tie your career high in strikeouts with number 12.
And that's exactly what Adam Wainwright does. His 4th career shutout, 11 complete game, 12 punch-outs on the night. He's our Budweiser player of the game.
We said the Cardinals need to win this. They need to sweep this series. You've got to come and make a statement. You've got to win these games against second division teams.
Statement number 1 made tonight. 2 more to go. Don't go away. The Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live postgame show is coming up next.
Game is over, and it's a Cardinal victory. Cal Elder and I here breaking it down on Cardinals Live. And Cal, this team needed something good to happen. It started off with great offense. It finished with great pitching.
Offense in the first inning, Pat, that's what you look for at the beginning of a series, especially coming off an off day after 19 innings on Sunday. Adam Wainwright gave that bullpen exactly what they needed.
Dozen strikeouts as well.
Gotta love it.
Much more on that coming up from Cal as we continue on Cardinals Live. Day after that Sunday marathon, the Redbirds return to the field in what should be a get-well series. We'll break down Game 1 against the Astros and just how are the Pirates faring after winning that marathon. Plus, Adam Wainwright returns to becoming one of the most dominant forces in all of baseball. We'll tell you all about this amazing run he's on, plus take you inside the Cardinal clubhouse, mic'd up as well. Happy birthday to the late, great Jack Buck. You won't believe what you're about to see next on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
Adam Wainwright caps off a memorable night with his 12th strikeout, tying a career-high 2nd complete game shutout of the season, 4th of his career. Cardinals win at 7-zip over the Astros. Let's get back to Busch Stadium. Jim Hayes with Adam Wainwright, our Mid-America Chevrolet Dealers Player of the Game. Jim?
3rd complete game, 2nd shutout on the season for Adam Wainwright. Finishing what you started and then ending it with a strikeout, that's kind of what you're all about, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a starter's role really and goal should be when you start the game to try to finish it. And, you know, luckily I've been able to do that a few times this year, and I'm going to try to build off of it.
12 strikeouts, 1 walk. Obviously, you had a lot of things working tonight.
I did, and I thought Yadier did a great job back there, as he always does. We were on the same page all night long, made it easy.
In terms of where you are, I mean, do you feel as good as you did before the surgery? Do you feel like this is Adam Wainwright?
I feel strong. I mean, you know, that old comparison. I don't know. I just feel like I'm confident on the mound. I'm making my pitches. So, what's the use in comparing?
Well, it's all good. I want to ask you about getting the win tonight and getting the bats going early, because obviously this is a team that's struggling, and you guys know you got to make something happen.
You know what, though? We're facing a pretty good pitcher tonight. Harold's been pitching great, even on a team that's really struggling. I think he came in tonight like 10-8 with a 3-something. So he's a quality pitcher. He knows how to make pitches, and he's got good stuff. So we had to go out there and put at bats on him, and our guys did a great job.
Good job. Thanks for the time.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's Wayno. Send it back to you.
Jim, thank you. Thanks to Wayno as well. And Adam Wainwright, National League pitchers with 2 shutouts this season. He's right there with some of the top pitchers in the National League, and why wouldn't he be? He is one of the top pitchers in the National League. 3 complete games, second to Dickey, who has 4 as well. Welcome inside the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill, Lumiere Place, with Cal Eldred. I'm Pat Paris. This is Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. In fact, Cal Eldred, who won the long drive contest yesterday during the Matt Holliday / Albert Pujols Golf
On
Classic.
one of the courses.
On one of the 2 courses.
Winner,
I think
yes.
Kyle Loesch won the other one. You won the. It'd have to be a pitcher, wouldn't it? We're going to talk much more about the pitching performance tonight by Adam Wainwright. We'll break that down, break down this Cardinals victory, get you over to Busch Stadium for mic'd up and some more player reaction. And also, we'll check in with Rick Horton and Al Rabosky, who called the game for us. Cal, this team certainly could have gone one of 2 directions after Sunday's game, the 19-inning loss. You like to see the statement made tonight that they're not going to go in the wrong direction.
And the thing that it brings me back to is, Pat, when you and I were talking to him after the 19-inning game, yes, we did hang around for all 19 innings, and we did do a post game on Sunday, but we were talking simply about how many times last year that Cardinal team was punched in the gut. They looked like they were done many times, but they continued to come back. And this again, in Adam Wainwright, the way he pitched tonight and the way the offense came out right from the get-go, scoring 4 runs is an example of the type of character this team has.
It is a nice demonstration for sure. The tweet is on. We want your questions and comments via Twitter, and you might as well start hashtagging him Waino to get that going.
Why
Let's
not?
get him trending here in St. Louis. Send your questions and comments to @FS Midwest. We'll take some of those during this evening's program after the 7-0 shutout. Let's get right back over to Busch Stadium now. Time for a view from the booth. It is Rick Horton and Al Roboski, who just called the game for us here on Fox Sports Midwest, joining us to put our wrap on a Waino Bueno kind of night, guys.
It sure was a great game. Guys, you referenced the game on Sunday. Feels like we did only half a game here tonight, just going 9 innings, and I'm still kind of reeling from hearing that Cal Eldred won the long drive competition. But let's get back to the game. Adam Wainwright referenced Yadier Molina and what he was able to do behind the plate, but we also saw some good offense from Yadi. We're used to seeing that.
Well, we've come to expect Yadi to do both things, be the Gold Glove catcher and be an offensive weapon, and he did that today. He has 3 for 4, and more importantly, he had 2 big RBIs in the Cardinal game. So Yadier Molina is up around the leaders now in batting average and does an excellent job on a nightly basis behind the plate.
And we'll see if those bats can continue in the next couple of days. And we're going to have a preview hit of tomorrow's game a little bit later on. And I have played golf with Cal Eldred. I'm still not buying it.
I just report the fact. I mean, I don't even know that it's a fact. I just report what I hear, and that's what I have to report. Sorry about that.
That's kind of a cheap shot, Rick.
Yeah, it's a shame. Was that a cheap shot?
I think so.
I think it was.
Cheap and cheat.
It's the truth, Cal. Sorry.
It is. Honestly,
Cheech and Chong.
I just got lucky, Pat.
I think it was. That's be a little bit of luck. Gentlemen, thank you. We'll check in with you a little later on to preview Game 2 of this series. But we need to talk about Game 1. And what an outstanding night it was for Adam Wainwright. The 12 strikeouts does equal his career high. Yes, we understand. It's the Houston Astros in a rebuilding mode, but there are several players on that lineup that are bona fide major leaguers, and they were the guys that were just as much strikeout victims as the guys who might still be at AAA if it wasn't for rebuilding.
It doesn't matter who you're facing, it's how are the pitches. What do they look like? Let's evaluate the pitches. When you look at what he was able to do, he got in and out of the strike zone when he needed to, but there's locating a fastball on the left side of the plate, going up above the zone with another fastball, a cutter away, and then of course the devastating curveball a couple times here. 3 different times you see the left-handers, and he just continued to throw that hook both to right-handers and to left-handers. That means it looks like the fastball coming out of his hand. So he's locating it well, and so it's not about who you're facing. It's about evaluating the pitches, the location, and the sharpness of it.
And we haven't had a chance to talk about what Waino said to our Jim Hayes right after the game, and that was, it's fine if you want to compare me to 2010 and that near Cy Young award that he won, almost won. And there are going to be comparisons, but he says, hey, this is what I am in 2012, and I know what I am, and I think I'm pitching pretty well, so take me as the 2012 Adam Wainwright.
Hey, I have to admit that he has surprised me in how strong he has been this far into the season. He's continuing to get better, and we're just enjoying every moment.
We certainly are. Let's get back over to Busch Stadium. Mike Matheny has stepped to the podium. It is time for Mic'd Up, brought to you by the Sheet Metal Workers Local 36.
Where does this rank in Wainwright's games for the season? Is best, or as good as his best? Yeah.
Pretty good. I mean, I don't know what more you could ask from him. He had everything working. There were times when he was just challenging with his stuff, and there were other times when he was throwing pitches you weren't necessarily thinking about. I mean, he mixed them up well. But he's been pretty impressive here for a while. It's fun to watch him, and I know he loves to kind of take the lead with the staff and say, hey, this is how we're going to do it, and hope everybody else follows along.
I ask you, how much of a statement game do you think this is from Adam?
Yeah, and that's really, as he's trying to finish that out, that's really what he's trying to say, and he was pretty pretty clear about it too. And you know, we've got an opportunity there late to maybe save and conserve some pitches, and for him, that's not an option. So he had a few more pitches to deal with. And he knew that he was right there at the end. But man, he thrives on those opportunities to lead by example and do something special.
You had that day off yesterday, but given the game on Sunday and what you had to do with the bullpen, how important was the complete game for him?
Huge. It was huge because there's a couple guys still a little rough. So yeah, that couldn't have been a better timing.
Craig has kind of quietly put together a 10-game streak here, and he also walked 3 times, I think, for the first time tonight. Where do you see him recently and really for the whole season?
Well, it was nice to see you, and Carlos, you know, can't make it, that you've got a guy who's got a knack for driving in runs and getting on base, and he's just a professional hitter. I mean, the way he goes about his at-bats, his approach is very consistent day in, day out, and doesn't try to do too much, but ball jumps off his bat. He has a real good plan up there, and it's once again, there's not many teams when they put their 4-hole hitter down have the kind of option to put an Alan Craig in there behind him.
Talked a lot lately about Adams' improved fastball command. I mean, how much was that a basis for what he did tonight?
I would say it was good. It was better, much better than his last start. You know, there were a couple other games. He has a game plan, and it's more about I think what he sees as the opposing team's weaknesses and what they might be sitting on, as much as what feels good that day. But he had all of his pitches working, and when you do that, then you can get pretty creative, and it takes a lot of help behind the plate too to make sure you aren't falling into tendencies and trends. And Yachty did a nice job with him, but he executed fastballs, but he also had, you know, he got quite a few swing and misses on his curveball. His curveball was very sharp today.
There's been a lot made about, you know, is he back and all this, and is coming off the surgery and stuff. But I mean, you take away his first 8 starts, his ERA is under 3 in the last 17. I mean, is he this last 3 months? Is he the same guy that he was before? I mean, to you, is there any difference you notice at all? Or?
He looks great. I mean, this is once again, I don't know what else you would ask. These last 4 especially have been as good. You know, the last one I thought he fought and had to work a little bit harder, but the 2 previous to that, it looked like any other time in his career where he was dominant. And he's got a great momentum going right now, and we just want to figure out what he needs to do to stay there.
How do you separate maybe his efficiency from what some people might call dominance? Do you see him as one and the same, or do you see them as 2 different aspects of what he's doing right now?
No, I think for him, I think they're the same. Some pitchers, you know, they're going to run up their pitch count, especially strikeout pitchers. But he's got a good mix where he's you know, getting to the 2-strike count pretty quick, not nibbling around. He just the break on his cutter has been a real big pitch for him to set up. His fastball is a finished pitch, and obviously they always have the curveball in the back of their mind. So he has a pretty unique repertoire of pitches that allow him to still stay pretty efficient, but get the strikeouts.
Do for you guys after Sunday and some of the offensive struggles to right away first inning put 4 up there?
Yeah, it was, you know, obviously good to see some runs come across the plate, give him some breathing room, but the guys had we talk about the game plan, we talk about their mental approach, and they had an idea what they wanted to do, and they didn't let many get by that were in their zone.
You see a difference in a team, not just necessarily your team, but even when you played, when you know a guy like Wainwright's going to pitch that night. I mean, is there just a different attitude, you know, among the guys on the team that you know got a legitimate shot tonight?
Well, for me, all of our starters have been pretty solid. So when Adam does have an air about him, and it's all about that. We talk about the leadership, and he thrives on, you know, a big loss on Sunday, trying to right the ship. We talk about that stopper as in your starting staff, that guy that stops a streak and things going in the bad direction and turn it around, and that's what the really good ones do, and Adam certainly has earned that.
For calls played in the 8th, I believe it was, where does that one rank for you?
He just amazes me. I mean, the jumps he gets, his instincts, his reads, and then when you think, you know, a little back issue could sometimes really keep you from making your normal plays, let alone a play like that, to go up to the middle and then make a turn and a good strong throw. He's still got his arm that he's always had. It's just it's very impressive to watch, and he's getting a little something going with his bat now too. It's nice.
Mike, you've said before you can't always tell how a guy's going at the plate by the number of hits that he has. How telling is it the offense gets 6 walks tonight?
I think it goes back, and Mark McGuire was very clear and did a nice job in our pregame meeting today talking about, we need to be aggressive, but we need to be smart. And really having that clear vision of where your zone is with this particular pitcher. And he was doing a nice job reminding them as they were walking up there what their plan was. And, the implementing is a whole nother thing. But when you get a good message and you get a good game plan and you mix that with talent, it's good things can happen.
Well, from Mike Matheny, we'll continue to talk about Adam Wainwright. Also, how about the offense? That's when we continue on Cardinals Live. Want to let you know about our win at home sweepstakes, ATT and Uverse, and the Cardinals all partnering up for a special contest where you can win at home. Visit cardinals.com/win at home to enter for a chance to win a flyaway trip to Chicago, premium game tickets, exclusive on-field access, and more. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Sweepstakes open to legal residents of Illinois and Missouri, 18 or older at the time of entry. Contest ends on August 24th, so hurry up. You've only got a few days left. The Cardinals, of course, take care of the Astros over at Busch Stadium, 7-0, a complete game shutout for Adam Wainwright. Let's go inside the Cardinal clubhouse and hear from the ace.
Just that we have a good team and hopefully a good pitcher. I tried to go out there and execute pitches and keep them off the base pass. Sometimes a team like that, a young team, is the most dangerous when they're behind. And so I told myself, don't let up. Don't let your focus go. Keep making pitches and let them get themselves out. So I was able to maintain my focus. I never lost track of the pitch I was trying to make, and I was able to execute.
How different was it? I think after your first complete game this year, you said how you were telling yourself to keep fighting through it, fight through it. How different was it this time?
Similar. I feel like I'm always doing that. It's happened to me in the past before, and it really only needs to happen once to learn from it. But you get a kind of a big lead and you let up for half a second, and then all of a sudden they put a crooked number on you and they're back in the game. So I just didn't want to allow that to happen.
Adam, at the end of the game, the runners at the corners, you can tell you wanted to finish that one. How badly did you want to get that?
Real bad. And I wanted to keep those goose eggs up there too, I think I told you earlier, a starter's job is to start the game and try to finish the game. And that's always my intention. When I start the game, I have every intention of throwing the last pitch of the game as well. And when you get nothing but zeros up there, that's a special day.
You get 2 complete games this month. I think your last 7 are particularly dominant. We've talked a lot about where you are in the season after missing last year. If you get asked about a statement, it seems like that's as much a statement as anything, that you're building as opposed to you're just trying to make it to the finish.
Right. No, I'm absolutely not just trying to make it through. I feel very good out there. Really, I'm going to keep grinding and keep working out in between and running like I have, just to try to feel this way at the end of the season. But I feel strong. I feel good as I ever have at this point in the season, and that's the truth.
Well, and Adam Wainwright, the 12 strikeouts tonight put him in some pretty exclusive company. Since 1969, you've got guys like Carlton and Gibson twice, and Todd Stottlemyre on that list as well with 13. This is, well, we knew he was an ace. We knew he's in pretty rare company. But to throw a shutout and 12 strikeouts at the same time, it's hard to do that because you have to throw so many pitches to get 12 strikeouts.
But he's able to do it at 105. That is really and truly amazing that he's able to do that. And now that I see his name next to Todd Stottlemyre's name, they do remind me a little bit of each other. We did the numbers, the 30, and we saw some video of him the other day. And Adam is just focused, like Todd was very focused, loves to compete.
Bulldog mentality.
No question, and very, very good breaking balls, both of those guys. Adam is in some rare company, and you know what? I got a feeling we're going to see him on that list again, Pat.
Yeah, I think that'll probably come up a time or two more. And Adam Wainwright at home is he's almost unbeatable, and he has been really great since July 4th. And this has coincided with his really kind of getting it all to fall together, whether it's just him recognizing exactly or getting, as you point out all the time, the feel comes back to him. But when you're 6-0 and an ERA of 1.43, you're going to win a lot of ball games with a 1.43 ERA and 45 strikeouts. Don't forget tonight, 12 strikeouts and just 1 walk.
And every time he goes out there, Pat, he's getting the team into the 8th inning, which is, I mean, that is going above and beyond the Call of Duty these days. But Adam Wainwright, when you got those low pitch counts like that, he's capable of doing that. Great command, as you pointed out, with so few walks.
Well, we're going to continue to talk pitching real quick because earlier today the Cardinals announcing that they have re-upped Jake Westbrook. They turned next year's option into a 1-year contract with a mutual option for 2014. Westbrook 12-9 this year with a 3.50 ERA. He chatted with our Jim Hayes during the Cardinals live pregame show earlier tonight on Fox Sports Midwest.
One of the good things about getting it done now is I don't have that in my head of whether or not I'm going to be here again next year. And I mean, ultimately, this is where I wanted to be. I love pitching here. I love pitching in front of these fans, and for this organization, it's we're rich in tradition and to be around my teammates who I love being around. It makes it a lot of fun to come to the park every day knowing you're going to have fun with these guys.
And again, we're talking about a pitcher who's just gotten better and better throughout the season, and he's been really good for about 2 months now, Cal, and a huge part of a rotation, and great to see him next year as well.
And really, I think he learned a lot of things last year about himself, Pat. He just at times was not as consistent as he wanted to be, and he may even say he wasn't as consistent the entire year as he wanted to be. He's got himself in shape. He understands that he is getting a little longer in the tooth. I'm not saying Jake is old, but he's starting to figure out exactly what he needs to do in between his starts and his routine in his off season. And then he has the equalizer, though. He has a great sinking fastball and a good changeup, and I think it's very, very wise of the St. Louis Cardinals to keep Jake Westbrook around for at least 1 more year.
He's pitching the way a lot of people thought he would pitch when he first came over from Cleveland and hoped he would, and now he is, and he's getting deep in ball games too.
And Jake is the type of guy that he wants to be able to pitch really well again next year for this team, and he wants to continue to pitch well if he's going to continue to pitch.
John Mozeliak, Cardinal general manager, said they'll look at Kyle Loesch's situation after the season. There's no talks right now, but it does appear that the Cardinals are pretty well set with a rotation going forward without Kyle Loesch if he jumps to free agency and gets the big money everybody's talking about.
Yeah, I know, but you know what, Pat? I'm the type of guy, you've heard me say this all the time, you can never have enough quality pitching, and obviously Jake Westbrook and Loesch fit that bill.
Yeah, they do.
Sometimes
Absolutely.
It's expensive. You've got to pay for good pitching.
It's pretty expensive. You got Carpenter, you have Wainwright, Jaime Garcia's making more money. It would be tough. It'd be tough to fit in. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live continues here on Fox Sports Midwest. It's becoming routine, but you never get tired of watching John Jay playing center field. Stay with us.